John, which was harder for you, going through this process with the NCAA and being accused, or getting fired at Oklahoma?
Definitely going through this process with the NCAA being accused. Again, when you're being accused, it's attacking your character. It's attacking more than just your ability to coach. The thing that you built, worked so hard to build, the perception, your image, your dignity. And to me, that was very painful, Andy. And I believe, being a head coach and being fired, the coaches are hired a lot of times to be fired. Some have long tenures. But I can overcome that. I can get a coaching job. But when you attack my character and be falsely accused, that's very painful.
John, did you ever try to steer players to Gary Wishart?
Absolutely not. I never try to steer players to Gary Wishart and to any other agent.
The NCAA says you received a total of $31,000 from Gary through some wire transfers from 2007 to 09. What was that for?
Well, basically, Gary and I are very special friends. Been friends for over 29 years. My son is his godson. Very close. They have got a special relationship. Jordan loves Gary and Gary loves Jordan, and they were just nothing but gifts.
And you were talking about the financial hardships you dealt with following the firing in Oklahoma. You had a house that you had a hard time selling, maintaining multiple residences. People are going to assume that you made quite a bit of money coaching. What was your real financial situation when you started working in North Carolina?
It was a very bad situation for me. Again, you have to understand that when I was at Oklahoma and I was out of a job for a while, more than 4 years, and carry a house note up to $7,000, 2 house notes, that depleted my buyout and my savings, also being in California and then going to Mississippi State. So by the time I got to North Carolina, I was in the hole, steady trying to climb out, keep my dignity, and it was a tough situation for me.
When you were being interviewed by the NCAA and by the people from North Carolina, they were asking you about your relationship with Gary Wishart. They were asking you about a bunch of phone calls between you and Gary. And you didn't tell them why. Why was that? Why didn't you tell them the reason for those phone calls?
Oh, boy. Andy, my friend for over 29 years. Told me in the beginning of the year that he had inoperable pancreatic cancer and that he only had so much time to live and he was going to fight this thing. And he asked me not to tell anyone, but to call him as often as I can and encourage him and give him strength to fight this thing. And during that time, I could not expose that information. I was asked about the phone calls. At times, I probably could have, cleared myself a little bit because of the phone calls. But I was asked over and over, what were the phone calls for? They weren't long phone calls. They're just a couple of minute calls, and me just calling him, tell him I love him, keep fighting. And he was the type of person that if he heard me say that he'd keep fighting.
So he was, just to be clear, he was trying to protect his business because if it got out.
Right. He had a business of a lot of high-profile clients, and he has a family, and he was still trying to protect his business and fight. And I believe Gary thought he could win. That's the type of player, agent he was. He felt when he would get his players the most money he could, and he did a great job doing it. But he had a lot of fight in him. And he said he never told anybody, his immediate family and me. And he said, but I just need my best friend to stay with me and pray with me and help me. And that was tough.
What was it like for you when you heard what Butch Davis said, that he was sorry that he trusted you?
It was very disturbing. It was very painful for my wife and my son. And because I've known Coach for a long time, when you have a friend for over 30 years, that's your biology teacher, your high school coach, and for Coach to say something like that without understanding or giving me a chance to be cleared or give me a chance to hear my lawyers to present the evidence that I am not guilty of this, it was very painful. Now, I understand that the pressure that Coach Davis is under and the pressure that was building at that time, that he probably did what he thought was best for him and for the program. But I hope when this is all over with, that Coach Davis will see when everything has been brought to the front, that his friend John Blake, who cares deeply about him and his family, was not guilty of these things.
John, do you think Butch Davis knew all that was going on at North Carolina?
I don't know exactly what Coach Davis knew, but I'll be totally surprised if he knew that, because he would probably put a stop to it right in the beginning.
Do you feel like you were scapegoated, or that basically you're being blamed for all the stuff that was going on in North Carolina?
You know, when I look at situations that happen in different schools, as far as Ohio State with Jim Tressel, a man that they were all supportive in the beginning, and then once the progress picked up a little bit, more allegations, and he decided to step on, all the allegations, everything was pointed towards him, one man going out the door to free the program of any other allegations. It's hard for one man to think that the things that were put against me, the allegation that came against me, and the pressure that was put on me, hard to think anything different than that. But I'm moving on. You know, I don't want to look in the past, and I hope that after all this is over, that they will see that Coach Blake was not what they thought he was.
Do you think you'll ever coach college football again?
Absolutely. There's been nothing against what I've done. Even Mr. Bedore said there's been no allegations. It's the allegations towards John Blake. I've been an outstanding coach. I've been an outstanding recruiter. I think that I will be able to coach college football if I like when it's all said and done.